Chapter 1. Intro. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me for another video. Smart home gadgets are everywhere these days, but some upgrades can be surprisingly difficult to install. Drilling holes, running cables, repairing walls afterwards. But what if you could add fully motorized smart blinds without picking up a drill? Today we're taking a look at the Bringnox no-drill motorized smart roller blinds. These blinds promise quick installation, remote control, voice control, and matter-over-thread support for seamless integration with modern smart home platforms. It certainly sounds like an ideal smart home upgrade, combining convenience, automation, and hassle-free installation. So let's take a closer look and see how it performs in real-world use. Chapter 2. Disclaimer. Before we get started, a quick transparency note. Bringnox kindly sent me this no-drill motorized Zebra smart roller blind for review. As always, they have no control over this video, no approval of the script, and no influence over my conclusions. I'll be showing you the complete experience, including installation, setup, smart home integration, daily use, the things I liked, the things I didn't like, and ultimately whether I think the smart blind is worth your money. Chapter 3. Unboxing. Since the box was quite long, I decided to unpack it first and then show you what was included. Inside the box, you'll find a roller blind quick installation guide, a remote control quick start guide, a matter setup guide, a cable clip installation guide, the remote control, a magnetic USB charging cable, a standard USB cable, a US power adapter, a cable clip, a hex key, the blind's front cover, and, of course, the motorized Zebra roller blind itself, complete with a built-in matter-over-thread motor. Everything arrived well packaged and protected, with all the accessories needed for installation and setup included in the box. Chapter 4. Installation. Let's install the blind on the window, and then set it up with Home Assistant and Amazon Alexa. Step 1. Physical installation. The no-drill blind from Bringnox features a spring-loaded mechanism, with a locking system on one end and the motor on the other. The motor side houses the antennas, power switch, charging port, status LED, reset button, and the matter setup code. Before installation, make sure the motor is switched on. Next, align the spring-loaded end of the blind with one side of the window recess. Press the blind towards the wall to compress the spring, then position the motor end against the opposite side of the recess. Once the blind is correctly positioned, use the supplied hex key and turn it counterclockwise until you hear a click. This locks the blind securely in place between the walls. The next step is charging the blind. The USB-A to USB-C cable is the standard charging cable. Simply connect the USB-C end to the blind and the USB-A end to a USB power source. While charging, the status LED next to the USB-C port lights up red. Once the battery reaches a high charge level, the LED changes to green. In addition to the standard USB cable, I also received a magnetic charging cable with 5 USB-C magnetic connectors. I left one of the connectors installed in the blind, making charging even quicker and more convenient for everyday use. Step 2. Remote control. The remote control should arrive already paired with the blind. Simply unpack it. Insert the supplied batteries. And verify that all the buttons work correctly and that the blind responds as expected. Step 3. Adjusting the limits. Adjusting the blind's travel limits is quick and can be done entirely using the remote control. Start by moving the switch on the back of the remote to admin mode. To set the upper limit, use the front buttons on the remote to raise the blind to the highest position you want it to reach. Once it's in place, press and hold the up button on the back of the remote for about 2 seconds until the motor jogs once. To set the lower limit, lower the blind to the desired closed position using the front buttons. Then press and hold the down button on the back of the remote for about 2 seconds until the motor jogs once, confirming that the new limit has been saved. Once both limits have been configured, move the switch on the back of the remote back to user mode. You can also set a favorite position for the blind. Simply move it to your preferred position using the front buttons. Then press and hold both the up and down buttons on the back of the remote for about 2 seconds until the motor jogs once. The jog confirms that the favorite position has been successfully saved. Step 4. Home Assistant. To pair the blind with a smart home platform, you'll need a thread border router. In my setup, I have 2 thread border routers. One of them is a sun-off USB dongle that I've flashed with Open Thread Border Router firmware. If you'd like to learn how to do that, click the link in the top right corner now, or check the video description later for my guide. Turn a sun-off dongle into an Open Thread Border Router for Home Assistant. Before adding the blind to Home Assistant, it must be placed into pairing mode. To do this, press and hold the reset button on the motor side of the blind for approximately 5 seconds until the motor jogs twice. Next, open the Home Assistant companion app on your mobile device. At the time of recording this video, this is the only way to add a new Matter device to Home Assistant. Add a new Matter device and scan the Matter QR code to start the pairing process. A few moments later, the blind should appear in Home Assistant and be ready to use. The setup process is quick, straightforward, and exactly what you'd expect from a Matter over Thread device. Once connected, add the blind to your dashboard and verify that all the controls are working correctly. Step 5. Amazon Alexa. To add the blind to Amazon Alexa, you'll need at least one Alexa device that supports Thread. Since this is a Matter-compatible device, Alexa should automatically discover the Bringnox Smart Roller Blind. Simply follow the on-screen instructions to complete the setup. If your blind is not yet connected to any Thread border router, place it into pairing mode and scan the Matter QR code in the Alexa app to begin the setup process. However, if the blind is already connected to another Matter system, you'll need to generate a new Matter pairing code from the app that is currently managing the device. In my case, the blind is already connected to Home Assistant via Matter over Thread. So I need to open Home Assistant, locate the Matter settings for the blind, and generate a new pairing code. Once the new code is generated, simply scan it using the Alexa app or enter the pairing code manually to complete the setup. After the blind has been added, verify that you can control it from the Alexa app. And test voice commands to make sure everything is working correctly. Alexa, close first blind, please.
Okay.
Step 6. Front cover. Once the blind is installed and fully configured, the final step is fitting the front cover. The cover simply hangs across the front of the blind, giving it a cleaner and more finished look. Chapter 5. Conclusion. After installing and using the Bringnox no-drill motorized smart roller blind in my bedroom for over 2 weeks, I can say that it has been a surprisingly impressive smart home upgrade. The biggest advantage is definitely the installation. If you want motorized blinds but don't want to drill into your walls or window frames, this solution makes the process incredibly simple. With only the included hex key needed, the whole setup can be completed quickly and without making any permanent changes. The build quality is also better than I expected. The blind feels solid, the motor operates smoothly, and the overall experience feels much closer to a premium smart home product rather than a basic gadget. Matter over thread is another major highlight. In my testing, connecting it to both Home Assistant and Amazon Alexa was straightforward, and once connected, the response was fast and reliable. Having a smart blind that works across different platforms without being locked into one ecosystem is a big advantage. The only thing that disappointed me slightly is the front cover. While it definitely improves the overall appearance, the way it's mounted could be better. Instead of being firmly secured, the cover is only loosely attached, hanging in front of the blind. It doesn't affect functionality, but it does make the final finish feel a little less premium compared to the rest of the product. Personally, I still prefer the more traditional permanent mounting method for long-term installations, but that really depends on your situation. For anyone wanting to avoid wall damage, or anyone looking for a simple smart shading upgrade, the no-drill version makes a lot of sense. So, would I recommend it? Absolutely. If you're looking for an easy-to-install motorized blind with Matter over thread support and seamless smart home integration, the Bringnox no-drill motorized smart roller blind is definitely worth considering. It solves a very specific problem, and it solves it well. Chapter 6. Thank you. And that's everything for today. Now I'm curious what you think about this one. Would you consider switching to smart blinds like these for your home? Or do you still prefer the traditional approach with manual control and fixed installations? And if you're already using smart blinds or other smart shading solutions, let me know how they're working out in your setup. If you found this video useful or even slightly entertaining, feel free to give it a thumbs up. It really supports the channel and gets these videos in front of more people. And if you're into smart home tech, automations, and real-world testing without the marketing fluff, make sure you're subscribed because there's plenty more coming soon. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Stay smart. Stay shaded. And let your blinds do the work.